Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for joining me today. I'm Spiguyver. This is Spiguyver Backpacking, and I got a question today after this video was released. The Spiguyver stove video was released. The question was, is it more efficient and smarter to use a bigger pot and boil a bigger amount of water, or to use a small pot and boil twice? So if you're doing, say, 12 ounces for a meal and 8 ounces for coffee, is it smarter to do 20 ounces all at once, or do the 12 ounces for your meal and then 8 ounces for coffee after? I don't know. What do you guys think? Why don't we test it and figure it out? Let's go. All right, so this is a valid question. It's a pretty good question, one that I've been thinking about, and I've got my own ideas, my own thoughts on it. But one of the things I wanted to see was, well, if you filtered your water, do you really need to bring your water to a boil for coffee? So I went online and I went to a couple of coffee sites and figured out what is the best temperature to drink coffee at. So the best temperature for really experiencing coffee is somewhere between 120 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on the high end of that and go with 140. And so we've got boiling and then we've got 140. Well, if you're doing it all in one pot, you're going to have to bring all of it to a boil. In order for it to be at a boil, it's all got to come to a boil. Whereas if you separate it out and you use the smaller pot, you can do 12 ounces to a boil for reconstituting your food, and then 8 ounces the second time, not quite to a boil, looking for that 140 in order to have a good cup of coffee. So let's get this thing started. Let's figure out how we're going to do this and get it going. All right, so I am pretty sure, even though it's cold in here, it is 48 degrees. This water is 48 degrees. I'm pretty sure that a half ounce is enough to bring this 12 ounces to a boil, this stove, this pot today. So that's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to try that, see if I can get a half ounce to bring this up to where I want it to be. So why don't we go ahead and get it started. I've got a half ounce in here, 12 ounces of cold 48 degree water in here. So let's do it. All right, let's get this thing lit. It's lit and there's the bloom. Get this on. I'll even start the timer. Not really sure we care that much about the time, but we're gonna do it anyway. Okay, we are approaching a boil with the half ounce of fuel. All right, looks like we've got a boil going on at about 4 minutes and 50 seconds. So it's slower, but it was colder, and we are using less fuel. Let's see when it burns out. All right, so that one burned out at right around 5 minutes and 20 seconds. So 4:55 to boil the 12 ounces, and then burn out at 5:20. So not a whole lot of play there. We were pretty close with that half ounce to get that to a boil. So now I've got 8 ounces of water in here. Again, you can see it's sitting at 48 degrees. I've now added a 1/4 ounce. So we're using a little bit less. On the last one, it came to 140 degrees at 2 minutes and I believe 55 seconds, somewhere right in there. It was at 140 degrees. I've got less in here, so I'm gonna try using less fuel and see where we get to. If we can't get it there at a 1/4 ounce to that 140, we'll add a little bit more than a 1/4 ounce to see if we can get it there. And that's gonna be our baseline to see how much fuel we add to see if we can do it with the 20 ounces in the bigger pot. So let's go ahead and get this thing started and see where we go. With the fuel being colder, it does take a little longer to light, a little bit more touchy, but we got it started. Let's see what we get this thing to. Okay, so we're in that range that coffee site said a perfect cup of coffee would be at. So we're over 120, there's 130. So we're looking for that 140. Can we get there on this 1/4 ounce of fuel? So it looks like the answer, oh, it's close, is yes. The flames are still going. They do appear to be dying down a little bit, but it looks like we nailed it with that quarter ounce, got it right up to that 140, and now the flames are out. So about 2 minutes, a little under 2 minutes to get it right there. Now let's see if we can do it with the bigger pot. Next pot up is the 700. So I've got 20 ounces of cold water in here. You can see it is sitting at 48 degrees, the same as the other ones. Now because I used a ½ ounce to boil the 12 and a ¼ ounce to heat the 8 ounces to 140, for the 20, I've combined the two and I've got 3/4 ounce of fuel in the stove. So we're gonna light it, throw this on there, and see whether or not this is enough. Start it and see how long this takes. Okay, we are approaching 6 minutes, and as you can see, the temperature has not come up to the point where we're even close to a boil. We're still almost 40 degrees away from a boil. And if you combine the burnout time of the ¼ ounce and the ½ ounce, we're only expecting to see about a 7-minute burn before this thing flames out. And so, I don't know, it's gonna be close, but we'll keep an eye on it. Well, we're getting closer. We're only about 16 degrees away from a boil. We're right at 7 minutes though, so I expect those flames are probably gonna start to die down anytime now. Well, we're getting close. This is interesting. And there go the flames. So about 7 minutes and 20 seconds, the flames are gone, and we made it to 202 degrees. 203 degrees it just came up to, but flames are just about completely out. So that's as high as it's gonna get. So we're not able to bring the 20 ounces to a boil with 3/4 ounce of fuel. It was pretty close, but not quite. All right, so there you go, guys. The test is done. We pitted the 550 twice against the 700. So the results, you can do what you want to do with the 550 with less fuel because you didn't have to bring it to a boil. If you had to bring it to a boil both times, I truly believe had you added just a little over 3/4 ounce, we could have brought this one to a boil. We were only 6 degrees away from a boil when this ended. So it was close to a boil. If you needed it at a boil, it didn't quite get there though. Whereas this one, you got it to a boil, it burned a little bit longer, and then you were able to refill it with a 1/4 ounce and bring 8 ounces to a good temperature for coffee. So for me, it makes sense to use the smaller one for a couple of reasons. One, I can do the piece for the meal, okay? So the 12 ounces, boil it up, put it in my cozy, set it to the side. If it's gotta sit for 15 minutes, I usually give it a little bit extra just to make sure that it reconstitutes fully. If I wanna enjoy coffee with dinner or a hot beverage with dinner, or if it's breakfast that I'm doing, or whatever meal you're doing, if you wanna enjoy a hot beverage with that, you probably don't wanna use the water that was boiled 20 minutes before. You probably want it done sooner. We know that a 1/4 ounce with this one will do it in 2 minutes. So add it in a few minutes beforehand, get it up to temperature, put in your coffee, mix it up, and you're ready to go. Whereas this one, you know, because it was all the way to a boil, maybe it would stay hot in whatever container you put it in until you were ready to have your meal. I don't know. But for me, I like using the smaller one, and even though you've got to do it twice, we showed here that you can do it and be more efficient because you don't have to bring the tea or coffee water all the way to a boil. You just need it to really 120 to 140. We went on the high end. I wanted to see if we could get it to 140 with the 1/4. We were able to do that. So guys, let me know what you think of this one. Drop some feedback down below. Leave me some comments. Hit the like. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't before. If you guys have any more questions, comments, concerns, things like this that you want to see, questions, throw them out there. I love doing these things. You know, it got me thinking, hey, will it work? Will it not work? Let's do it. All right, guys, I'll see you down the trail.